My husband and I have been married for 40 years. Just had our 40th anniversary. And we are perfectly matched. Opposite in every possible way. My husband is very quiet and I'm much more outgoing. My husband is very organized and I'm not at all. And so he likes to say that if it wasn't for me, we would never get out and see anybody. And if it wasn't for him, we would never find our way back home. So we are perfectly matched in every way because we're so different. We also mentor people at our church, married couples. We lead the marriage ministries at our church, and we get to know lots of prickly people when we see these couples who are in conflict. So today I want to talk about how to make peace with prickly people, and I'm going to kind of do this within the workplace, since this is Jobs Club. So to try to give you some skills to identify personality, your personality and the personality of somebody that you might think is a little prickly, and give you some tips on how to get along with that person a little better. So relationships are really, really important, right? You can't do anything successfully without relationships, whether you're at home, in your neighborhood, or in the workplace. You have to get along with people. It doesn't matter what your skills are at work and your abilities, but if you don't get along with your boss, or if you can't motivate the people who work for you, you are lost. So relationships are so, so important. And I started studying personalities quite a few years ago, and I loved doing that. Now, I've given you a handout, so you might want to go through that. I have some charts in there. The first one on page 2 looks like this. It's got puzzle pieces on it. And so I'm going to give you some basic background on personalities, because I think that when you can identify something about another person's personality, you really can improve your relationship. So you see there's 4 puzzle pieces there, and they all fit together. And they each represent one aspect of all of our personalities. We all have all 4 of these aspects. But in each person, only 1 or 2 is very obvious. This is really ancient information. It comes from Hippocrates, who lived in Greece way, thousands of years ago. He's known as the father of modern medicine. And when our doctors graduate from medical school and they take the Hippocratic Oath, that's his words, Hippocrates. So these ideas started with him, and many people over the years have developed them and added to the information that he originally wrote. So there's 4 basic personality styles: the choleric strength, the sanguine heart, the phlegmatic soul, and the melancholy mind. So I'm going to go over just some basic things about personalities to help you to kind of understand this. By the time I'm finished, you will be able to identify a person, basically, which of those 4 quadrants do they prefer to live in. And as I do this, you're going to probably have names pop into your mind as you think about each one of these, like, oh, I know somebody like that. So you might want to write down their name as we're doing this, and then you can think back, oh, that's like that person. And I also want you to keep in mind the name of one person whose relationship you'd really like to improve, and jot down their name. Now, if they're sitting next to you, just put X, okay? So,
Okay, wait, what was that last thing you said just before you said just put X?
if they're sitting next to you.
Okay, but this is about if we recognize them being one of the types?
Yes, if
Okay.
I describe choleric strength and you go, oh, that's just like so-and-so, write their name down, and then later when you look back, you go, oh yeah, that's like, you know who.
Okay.
But you said somebody
All
you'd
right.
really like to know, to write down the name of somebody you'd like to know better, or
You would
to-
like to improve a relationship with.
Improve a relationship.
Do you have a prickly person? Do you know anybody that's prickly? You might not ever have called them prickly before, but maybe it's somebody you've been trying to get along with. You try the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, and nothing changes. That's a prickly person. How many of you know a prickly person? Okay. Pretty much everybody that I've ever talked to knows at least somebody who's a little prickly, a little hard to get along with. So there's a couple different things I want to share with you now. If you look at that grid, those puzzle pieces, the 2 on the top, the choleric strength and the sanguine heart, they share some qualities. They are more optimistic and they see solutions to problems. They see the big picture. The two on the bottom are more pessimistic, and they tend to see the problems, and they're more detail-oriented. And so the difference between optimistic and pessimistic is usually pretty obvious. You know, when you get to know somebody, you can pretty much tell, are they more optimistic than me or more pessimistic? So these two things are like a continuum. So maybe the most optimistic person is way over here, and this is the person that never sees anything wrong with anyone. And so they might be really naive about safe people, maybe naive about ideas, right? And then the other person who's extremely pessimistic, you don't have to keep moving in, it's okay. I'm gonna move around. So the other person over here, extremely pessimistic, never sees any positive in anything. And they're point out the problems in everything. So each extreme is not so great. Each extreme is a prickly person, right? And we need the people who see the problems, and we need the people who see the solutions. We need the people who see the big picture, but they don't know how to make it happen. And then we need the people who are detail-oriented. And so in any organization, you need both of those people to come together. The big picture people to come up with the great ideas, the little picture people to poke it apart and figure out step by step, how are we gonna get there? And so often when we encounter people that are very different from us in this, we just want to push away from them, like, forget it, you know, you are too picky, or you are too naive and too optimistic. But when we can come together, that's when we get the blessing of each type of personality. Another thing I'd like to talk about is extroverted versus introverted. That's also something pretty easy to tell. If you know somebody pretty well, you can probably say they're more extroverted than me or more introverted. Now, extroverted means that you're energized by being with people and drained by being alone. And introverted means you're drained by being with people and energized by being alone. So they're two opposite ends of the continuum too. So here we have the introverted person, the most introverted person that ever lived, and they're a hermit, and they don't like to talk to people. And then way over here, you have the extreme extrovert that just blah, just lets it all hang out. You know, they love everybody, but they don't like to be alone, ever. They're just drained by being alone. This person might talk incessantly, never stops talking. This person, you can't get them to answer a question. You know, we have mentor couples that come to us often, and our first question is, well, what can we do to help you? And we had a couple that said, we have problems. Okay? It took us about a year to get something out of them. So they were extremely introverted. And so we need to have the two come together, right? Because we need the extroverted people are quick in making decisions. They're also big picture people. And then the introverted people are the ones who are slower to process. And they want to consider everything. And this is an area that really gets to be a problem in the workplace too.